Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. I thought maybe I could do this in the sunshine, but it's blazing into my eyes, so let me go hide in the shade. We haven't really seen much of the sun lately. It's been raining for weeks, and that's meant that the pergola has been on hold, but it has meant that I've been working inside, and I made some exciting developments on the bathroom wall using clay. Plus, the rainy weather has meant that the roads around here have been crazy slippy. And so in this video, there's an exciting car-related incident that I have to deal with. Plus, I also spend about 10 minutes giving an update on my window. I do that while I'm putting some lime on the wall, so it might be interesting to some of you, but others might not want to watch a 10-minute window update. So I've put some links below in case anybody wants to skip around in the video to what they're most interested in. So that's enough chat for me. It's an interesting video. It's a fun one, I think. I hope you enjoy it. And I'll see you again at the end. Hello again, folks, from the shower. I've had the camera off this evening, and I've done a little bit more work. And before I show you that, I thought I would just come up and say hello to this little fellow. Hi, Larry. Are you admiring my work? Just chilling out. It's really miserable out there. It's been rainy, cold, and I've been in here basically just working at the top part. So I'm trying to round it over. But the main reason I wanted to work on this bit was to get this sort of mesh thing in. And the reason for doing that is so that when I put the clay on, it's going to act as sort of a connector between the two different materials. I'm always very conscious, whether it's natural materials or otherwise, about finding ways to make sure the two things stick together. So that means putting metal nails into wood when I'm covering it with lime, which you saw in my previous video when I put the wood into the wall. And other things that I can't think of right now. So I just wanted to get this in. The lime is a bit wet to use, so I didn't want to keep working because, to be honest, it's been really difficult to get that to stay up there. I've also removed the tap and cleaned it up and taped off the pipes. So yeah, things are happening in here. Larry is overseeing it all, and I'm gonna just probably finish the liming off camera because you've seen plenty of that. And you'll see me again when, hopefully, the base layer is done. So I'm back in the shower. Let's put the towel protection down. I've got this last little bit of lime left, and I've been going for it, just trying to get the bottoms rounded off and building up the walls, slowly working over in this direction. And I've put some more of this mesh stuff in just to reinforce the corners. And before I run out of lime, I think the next thing I'm going to work on is trying to embed this piece in, which has been in my way for ages. I basically want to lime it in so that it's there when I start to work on this clay wall. And the clay wall is next on my list, but unfortunately, the clay is out there and I need to mix it up with, you know what, let's just brave the elements. This weather has been completely crappy. I'm all out of lime. But it's too miserable out here to actually mix some more up. The sand is wet. I haven't covered it up. I'm telling you, things get blown around. I should probably be better about keeping the sand covered. And then I have a clay sand combo in here, ready to go. But before I can use that, I have to add straw in. And before I can do that, I have to chop it up. So I've just been hiding away from the elements. It is very ridiculous out there. My solar is low. But the work in the shower is actually really enjoyable. But one thing that's much less enjoyable is yet another negative update on my window. We've had rain for a few days, and yesterday it was quite stormy, and it snuck in and went all over my windowsill underneath where I have the plants. So I've put up this barrier and it seems to be keeping the water out, but that's not obviously ideal. So I have a bit of an update from what the window guy has said, which I'll give to you later on. I'm gonna just let it rain again today and then check the window later on to see what it's doing. But yeah, the weather's been miserable. However, it's wonderful to have work that's enjoyable inside. So let's get back to the shower. So I've actually done plenty of fast motion liming video stuff. You can see a lot of that in my previous video and lots of other videos, and there's probably going to be more to come. So I thought that rather than just showing the work, I might as well use this as an opportunity to do some work while also chatting about the window. So, window guy and I have been quite cordial, I'd say. I think I've been pretty patient. He disappeared for all of November. A lot of you guys out there told me to kick him to the curb. That was really unprofessional. I don't know. I wasn't in any massive... I mean, I guess I was in a hurry for the window, but I don't know. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I had other things on anyways. So I was super patient with him, even though there was zero contact from the guy, which that's the part that annoyed me, I think. You know, I wasn't annoyed that he vanished and couldn't do the work. What annoyed me more was just the lack of communication, and he just had told me, you know, where he was and whatever. That would have allowed me to maybe have made a decision of whether I wanted to continue working with him or not, because I literally had absolutely no feedback about whether he'd started the project or what. He wasn't answering my messages, and it therefore didn't really give me an option to maybe decide to go with someone else. I sort of just let it slide, trusted he would appear at some point, and then he did. And then when he did, the window work, you know, took a while, and when he would tell me it would be finished, it kept dragging on, dragging on. Then the installation day kept being pushed forward and stuff. So I think I've been a very, very reasonable customer. I was really happy to see him when he finally appeared. No hard feelings, all good. But since the installation, things have been getting a little bit more frustrating. So he'd been back, let's say, I want to say definitely 3 times, maybe even 4 times, because this window just, it lets water in. And the first time he came, I don't know why I didn't just test the thing before he left. I don't know why he didn't test the thing before he left. But you think about these things afterwards, I suppose. I guess I was just trusting that the professional knew what he was up to. Anyway, he and another guy came, they did the install, and it let water in when it rained the first time. And when it did that the first time, I could see immediately what the mistakes were, or what the issues were, I guess. Basically, the window wasn't really closing tightly, and the little wing thing that kind of directs the drips away, it was directing the drip onto the windowsill itself. And then there was some other issue that I don't remember right now. So they came back, they tried to fix that. And when they did, they changed things up in a way that was very obviously not going to work. But of course, I don't know, I guess I just trusted them. And again, didn't check it. So off they went again after making these adjustments. And then they had to come back, and they did some more adjustments. And then off they went again. And then I messaged the guy, I'm like, look, window dude, this thing is still letting water in. And I was getting pretty frustrated at this point and pretty distrustful of his window water tightness skills. And yeah, but I was still being patient. I think I was still being polite. I was still being very reasonable. And I think at that point I was probably in my rights to maybe have moved to a little bit more of an unreasonable stance. But I feel like I was still being nice. The messages were nice. All good. So that's kind of where we stood until maybe, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or something. And so then I messaged him after it rained again, and I'm like, this window isn't watertight. And I got a really long message back from the guy. You know, he was annoyed with me. I imagine, I don't know, having a customer that's not happy, always bugging you to come fix your work isn't really a nice thing to have to experience. But I also don't think it's unreasonable to expect a window to keep the water out. And in the last message, and this is what kind of annoyed me and pushed me over the edge a little bit, he sort of implied that I was being unreasonable. He said something along the lines of, I've made many windows, you're the only customer that has a problem, and kind of implied that I don't really know, maybe that it was my fault, maybe I was being unreasonable for wanting a window that kept the water out. I can see that perhaps he thought my testing methods maybe weren't fair. That's fine. But still, the way he worded the email really got my back up, and I just decided to let it go. It's like, well, I put the ball in his court, and I just said, look, if you, it's up to you. I really can't pay for a window that doesn't keep the water out, so next time it storms, just in case he wasn't into my shower head testing method, I was like, look, next time there's a big storm, I'll show you what happens. I really hope it keeps the water out. Hopefully my methods weren't fair, and hopefully with the normal rain, it'll keep the water out, and then I can pay you. Everyone's happy. I'm happy. I want to give this guy my money. I want a working window. I'm not trying to scam the guy, and I know he wants rid of me for sure. We want rid of each other. Anyway, so that storm came, I guess last night or a couple nights ago, and I sent him a video of a whole bunch of water on my windowsill, and then I opened the window on the video as well that I sent him, and you can see that it's just all been pooling in the window itself. So not only had it gotten into the inside of the window, it had spilled out onto my actual woodwork. So I sent him that video, and I just said, look, this is obviously not good. I'm just gonna finish this window myself. I hadn't heard back from him from the previous message at all, so I sort of figured he was washing his hands of the whole thing. But anyway, he messaged back and he said, I'll come next week to see what the problem is. But because he had sort of accused me of just being a problem customer or whatever he was on about, he was kind of saying that I was being unreasonable. I just replied and I said, look, I'm sorry, I don't really trust your work. I don't think it's cool that you sort of thought that it wasn't reasonable for me to want a window that kept the water out. And you're welcome to come back and try, but if you do and it doesn't work, which I don't think it will, because I don't understand how he can't get this right. He's a window installer. So I'm mystified. But basically I just said, like, look, you're welcome to come back and try, but honestly, I don't really, I don't trust your work. You've tried a whole bunch of times. You've sort of fobbed me off as being unreasonable, and yeah, I don't want to waste your time. If you can't do it, I'll find a way to do it. So that's kind of where we left it. I haven't had a reply from that message, and so we'll see what happens. So I want him to come. I want him to fix this. I want to pay him the full amount. That's what I want. I want a working window. And if he can do that, that's great, but if he can't, then we're back at square one. So I'll see what he says. I really don't know. Like, I don't know what else I can really do. And even if he just goes dark and he doesn't want to fix it, or he doesn't want anything else to do with me, if I can manage to fix this thing myself and it doesn't cost me much in materials or time, I'll give him more of the money. I still owe him about 120 euros. I'll have to just sort of assess how much more I want to pay him. If I can't fix it, I don't know if I have to get like a carpenter in and pay them and get things redone, and then obviously I wouldn't be able to give him any more money for the window. I'm really happy with how the window looks. I think it's beautiful, but a window that doesn't keep the water out, guys, I don't think is actually really even a window. So that's where it's at. It's pretty frustrating, and I guess I've said this before, it's another example of how nobody will really care about your project as much as you do. And I am definitely, next time, going to be trying to make a window of my own. It's a skill I'd love to learn. And based on this experience, I definitely have ideas of what he's done wrong and, yeah, what I could do to improve it. I know a lot of you have said that because my window opens outward, it's bound to leak. That's not the case. Lots of people have windows in Portugal that open outward, and let's just say that is the case. He's a window guy. If he knew the design wasn't going to work, that's something he should have told me. So, I don't know. I think I'm being pretty reasonable here. I'm curious about whether he's going to reply or not. I have a few ideas for how I can fix this thing. One of the main things I think needs to happen is that the windows themselves need to come down. There's kind of a big gap at the bottom and no gap up at the top. So I feel like the whole thing could be taken off the hinges and shifted downward. I don't think that's something I can do. So if you wanted to come back and try that, that would be something that could work, especially if you put some more robust weather stripping on there as well. There's a couple other things I think could work. The little wings that keep the water off don't go to the very edge of the window. There's just all these little obvious to me now, mistakes or things that aren't working that I think you could try to address. So anyway, that's the saga of the window. I don't want to feel like I'm moaning, but it's been going on for a while, and I guess I'm disappointed, but more than that, I'm sort of just astounded that he doesn't really want to stand by his work. The message he sent me previously, kind of just calling me a problem and saying I was being unreasonable. Yeah, that really disappointed me, and it's kind of got my back up a bit. So, you know, I'm not being quite as patient as I was before, and I'm kind of just honestly kind of over the whole thing. So I'll keep you updated on what he says, and if I don't hear back from him, or if he doesn't want to do it, you know, next week sometime, then I'll just probably crack on with it myself in a couple of weeks when it stops raining. So anyway, that's all from that. Let's just continue on with this much more fun project for me. Putting lime on the wall, something I actually know how to do myself, and yeah, it's been a really enjoyable little process. So let's finish this off, and we'll chat about the window another time. Well, that's not really going to plan. It's a little difficult sometimes to work high up with the camera close by. But I'll see if I can make it work. I'll probably end up doing this final bit up here in the fine sand, with the fine sand mix. This is the coarse sand mix. And so it's a little bit more unruly. It's got a few more rocks in it and things. And it just makes it a little harder to work with. But as I've mentioned before in some other videos, there will be one final pass of the entire shower all at once with the fine sand mix, and it's going to make the shower more white in color, or a little lighter anyway, or maybe more creamy. It's the same mix that I use for pointing the house, but the trick will be that I want to get it all done at once, so I don't know if I'll have to enlist the help of Sinead, who is a fine plasterer, to come in here and help me get it done, or if I'll just end up spending the entire day in the shower. Either way, we'll be fine, because I do love a bit of liming, and I also really love working with Sinead, so I will find a way to get it done. Okay, the lime is mostly on the wall. I've got a lot of this bucket left still to use up, and I'm going to do that now, off camera, because I think you've seen enough liming to last a lifetime. So up next is the clay wall, and then I'm also going to hopefully get to the bathroom counter to the right of me in this video as well. But before I go, this little Japanese trowel, it's my new favorite tool. It's perfect for this kind of thing, doing more finicky lime work, and I love it. You're not going to see it in a regular building store. I ordered it online, but if anyone out there is into plastering, this little guy is amazing. So I'm going to continue on messing around with this, getting some more lime on the wall, and I'll see you tomorrow for hopefully some work with clay. Well guys, I was all ready to get to work on the clay wall. I've got some straw here. I've got the strimmer. We're gonna use that to chop that really tiny and mix it in there. But instead of working on the clay wall, I had a surprise car-related incident to deal with. The roads have been crazy. Cars are slipping and sliding all over the place. And Sinead's car went off the road, and myself and some friends had to figure that out. To the rescue! So this is where we're at. Hey Bex.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so localised this weather, isn't it? So there's blue sky there, you can see sun there, rain there, sun there, rain there.
Okay, we're going for plan B, but that involves navigating a small landslide. And here she is. There's loads of walls down by my place that have fallen down. I think there's a couple walls inside the villages nearby that have fallen. Yeah, the water last night must have been crazy. And I'm just gonna, I guess, try to move some of these stones at the front so that the truck can sneak by. So I moved a few stones. I'm waiting for the girls to get back. They're just circling around, and they're gonna approach from the other side of the road. But this is what we're dealing with here. It's pretty squelchy. But there is something very satisfying about mud. And I'm about to work with some clay, so, you know, it's gonna get me warmed up for that. But yeah, these walls, they're beautiful, but they're not amazing when it rains a lot. Hello there, to the rescue. Hello. No problem for a big truck like that. Amazing. Hey Jasper, how's it going? A bit of moral support as we try to get the car out of the void of nothingness. The bramble doom.
We try. Pull Shade out.
Second attempt.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll start the engine and I'm going to straighten the wheels this time, yeah?
Yeah. Straighten the wheels.
I mean, there is like another foot of ground. Are you ready? Feeling confident?
We're ready.
All right, are you ready?
Gladiators, ready.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. I am doing nothing useful. Now turn, now turn. Turn. So far we've been unsuccessful, and we're gonna go from the front again.
We're gonna try again.
But we've made a mountain of, we've made a road.
Yeah.
It's like a Roman road, but better.
Yeah. Well, let's see if it works before we...
Oh, God, that was really hard work, though.
Whew, yeah. Anyway.
Pouring rain.
Attempt number 3,
You
yes.
guys have literally moved a landslide.
Basically, well,
Great.
we're lucky the landslide actually happened here. It gave us some stones to work with at least.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right,
but
guys.
this is what caused it in the first place.
Positive thoughts. This is gonna work now.
Right, come on, full lock.
We got this. In you go.
Yeah, in I go.
Slide on over. Ready, Jasper? Ready?
Jasper, you ready? Oh, he's
Ready? All right, let's do it. Oh. Well, it looked like it wanted to, but then this broke. The same rope attached in a different way. The rain is pelting it down. This is turned into an unenjoyable task. But when we get this out, it's gonna be amazing. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit! Keep going! Well, it wasn't pretty, guys. It wasn't pretty. Well, maybe we'll click it. Hopefully this is the only casualty. The car looks okay. Did you see that? Nicely done! Woo! So there's been some road carnage as we dragged the car sort of underside across a whole bunch of stones, etc.
I think we've just defined the edge of the road. Actually, it's probably beneficial for everybody now.
Yeah, everyone can see now where the road is.
Yeah,
At least there's that.
Don't drive there.
Alright, we're getting this bad boy out of here. Feels good. It could have been very anticlimactic, but
Yeah, thank God for that.
yeah,
I did think at one point we weren't going to do it.
same. But no, I had full faith in you guys. I had full faith, and I, as the filmer, was really doing a lot. I feel,
Yeah.
you know, so it was very helpful in the
You
whole
were the
matter.
main cog in the whole operation.
Exactly, that's what I like to think.
Yeah.
So thankfully we managed to get the car out. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't easy. We were working at it for about 2 hours, sometimes in the pouring rain. But she's out, and I took her for a test drive, and she's fine. The car looks okay. Surprisingly, because that thing seemed to get dragged along the mud for quite a while. Luckily, the sides of those roads are actually quite soft, but that's also the cause of the problem, the reason the car slipped in the first place, and the reason we had so many problems getting the thing out. But brute force and ignorance came to the rescue again, and we managed to get the car out. But that means that I haven't had time to work on the clay wall. So I'm going to get back to this another day. And right now I'm going to tidy myself up and hide inside, because even though it's dry now, the weather has been pretty terrible and it's kind of freezing out here and I'm soaking. So I'll see you tomorrow for some more work. So I had some very grand plans today to be working outside, doing some stuff out there, but of course I didn't look at the weather forecast and it's not agreeing with me. So the fire is on. I've got some construction materials and tools there. This is the situation we've got to deal with out here. It's been like this for hours, and so I'm definitely not doing anything out there, but I feel energetic, and I think it's about time I make a shelf for this little cupboard. But let's do it the fast way. Alright, I didn't get the shelf done, but I got a good start on it. I basically ran out of nails, and they were in the polytunnel, and it was dark and raining, and I didn't want to go out there to get more. So I've got these 2 pieces cut and ready to go. And then I also have to cut some shelves for the shelf. But I didn't want to do that inside because it'll require the circular saw. So I've got more work to do on that. But since I've got a sunny day here, it's beautiful, I figured now is a good time to finish mixing the cob. And that means I have to chop some straw using the strimmer. Adding straw into the clay gives the whole mixture a lot more strength, but because this is going to be a final layer, I don't want these huge long pieces. It'll just make the whole thing unruly and it'll make it look weird, I think. So what I have to do is chop it down to size, and the strimmer is something I've seen people use before, so I've never done this. I'm excited to give it a try, and I'm hoping it just shreds it all to pieces and makes it nice and tiny so that it works well in my cob mix. So it's definitely been a while since I've used the strimmer, and the grass has suffered for it. I hope this works. I don't have another plan. The backup plan would be just sitting there with an axe and chopping it to pieces, but that would be terrible. So I've got this little thing over, got this bag over the strimmer to hopefully prevent the straw from flying everywhere. Let's see how this goes. Okay, shredding achieved. That seems much better. It's tiny pieces, and I think it's going to work really well. That's hard work, but I think that's gonna do. You can do this in a cement mixer. It makes everything a lot quicker and a lot easier, but I don't have one, so manual is the way to go. Whew, that's heavy, and I'm not really sure what the right tool for the job is. Usually when I'm working with clay, I just do it with my hands, but since this is a final layer and since I'm using fine sand, I feel like one of the trowels will be my best bet. But one thing I do know for sure is that I want to chip off a little bit of the clay I've already put on. So this is what I need to get going. So I want to build this wall out to be a uniform thickness, basically. And what I've done is, with some leftover mix a long time ago, I already built it out to the level I want. And it's going to be difficult to attach and make it look good since this is going to be my last layer. So I'm going to start by chipping this part off. I don't know if it's going to come off easily or not, but I'll give it a go anyway, because if I can get this off, it'll make the rest of the work a whole lot easier. Fabulous. It just goes to show how strong this clay really is. Getting it off hasn't been too difficult, but getting it off without cracking the whole rest of the surface, it has been easier than I thought. I thought it would all just... You know what? Actually, I had no idea what would happen here, so I'm happy with how it went. And now let's put clay on the wall instead of destruction. Let's get some creation. First thing you always want to do when working with clay is wet the wall so that the next layer has a better chance to stick. It's all very satisfying. I love working with clay. It's a wonderful, wonderful material. So as I mentioned, I don't know what the best approach is here. So I'm just gonna try the trowel and see how it goes. That seems to be working well. The lighting in here is probably going to be an issue. But I'll do my best to provide a good viewing experience. One of the best parts, I think, about working with clay is that it's not abrasive or toxic the way many other conventional building materials are. And so that means the gloves can come off. So I'm going to carry on putting clay on the wall, and then I'm going to check in again when I'm ready to do this part, which is just going to be a little bit more artistic and possibly a bit more interesting than watching me smear clay onto a wall. However, before I get to work, I thought I would show you what's happening out here. We have a lovely sun shower. It really is quite nice. The temperature is pretty mild, and I do love a good sun shower. So I just wanted to pop out and show you what we're dealing with. So I'm going to get back to it. I still have a lot of work ahead of me, and it's quite late in the day. And I really want to spend a bit of time focusing on that artistic feature and not have to rush. So you'll see me again very soon when all of this is hopefully finished and I'm ready to work on this part. So here's where I'm at. The clay's on the wall. It's mostly flat and smooth, but it needs another pass. This is the last of the clay, so I'm really hoping that's gonna be enough to finish this off. I think it will. And you might notice up here, a little paw print where Mikey has jumped up onto the wall to get out of the house. So I guess I'll have to close off the window in the shower, and I might be getting up and down in the night, letting these guys in and out because I don't want any more kitty paw prints on there. So I possibly should have dug around the glass to the shape I wanted before I started putting the clay on. I did not, so let's see if I can make this work. So this is going to take a lot longer than I thought it would. If I was feeling a little bit more adventurous, I might do things like make little borders around this whole thing. But this is my first time working with a final clay plaster, and it's one of my first times also doing this kind of more artistic feature kind of stuff with clay. So I think I'll just keep things a little bit more simple and stick to what I'm doing just by making little circles. So I'm going to put the camera away for a little while because I could be here for hours filming this and just fussing around with this. But I feel like you've had a good idea of what I'm up to, and I'll show you the finished product, hopefully, in an hour or so. Hopefully not like in a million years because, as I said, this thing could take me a little while longer than I anticipated. So I will see you soon. Okay, this is where I'm at. I've been going at this for hours, and it's really hard to walk away. You always see another little bit you can smooth out. But at some point, enough is enough, and if I start messing around with this too much, I'll just start screwing things up, especially since I am very, very tired. I had grand plans of finishing off that shelf today, but that was madness because, yeah, I should have known that when it gets down to the final coat of something, when it's going to just be the end product, I'm going to spend a lot of time on it. And you'll notice I haven't put any score marks on this, and that's the intention for the whole place. I have all kinds of clay work and lime work with these score marks in it, and that's just because it's not the final layer. So for final layers, I really do want to put a lot of effort in, and that means it just takes a lot of time. And I don't even know, I think it's about 11 p.m. Right now. So that means no shelf, but I'll get to that in my next video, and possibly also the pergola if the sun is shining, or I might be back in the shower working on that some more. So it's been a very eventful video, to say the least. The car debacle was, yeah, exciting. And yeah, just I feel like I did a lot, and now, as you can tell, I'm tired. So I'm just going to say goodbye before I ramble on like a maniac for too long. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.